Hi, loves. It's me, your girl Ziggy. I am back with another installment of the Ziggy Zone. I would love for you to stay tuned because we are shifting away from a video and going to join the 21st century, and we're going to join 2016, and we're developing a podcast. That way, you're not limited to accessing us and what it is that I have to say. So, today, we're going to talk about the biggest piece of news coming out of the NFL, which is the controversial move Colin Kaepernick of the San Francisco 49ers made by refusing to stand during the pre-ceremony of the preseason game, the national anthem, right? He sat. It's customary that athletes they stand, acknowledge, handle the heart, all the good stuff. So Colin had some words about his why he took his stance. The 49ers organization, they had a few words to offer. And then Chip, he also had something to say, and then as well as the NFL. So we're going to go through each statement, and I'm going to share with you my overall perspective. Everyone has something to say about this. There are some people that, completely support Colin and his decision. There are others who are saying it was a terrible act and he should have taken his stance otherwise in another way. Um, I say I'm just glad he took it, right? Like I think athletes are often they are marginalized and pigeonholed, and they can only say something if the masses feel that way. It's like athletes are not permitted to have their own view on a situation. So, starting off, Colin said, I am not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. Now, one thing about Colin, I'm not sure if you all knew this or not, but he is black, right? Like, woo, right? So, as a black person and as a black man, um, and with the recent, I mean, this summer was pretty tough, but by recent, I don't mean this year. By recent, I mean really, if we just take a look since Oscar Grant, so you're talking about an 8-year period, um, where you really see black men and brown men being killed by the police, right? This isn't about black on black crime. This isn't about gang violence. It's really about those who have been sworn to protect and serve, and um, sort of what the blue code of silence, really. Or it's about people who are sworn to protect and serve but are frightened, and so they take, you know, the last step versus de escalating. So, for a person, especially as a black man, when you see these images of other black men laid out in the street, which we have literally seen those images, I mean, one has to think, am I next? What about me? What about my family? What about those I love? What about just the next man? So I I'm actually not sure why more black men aren't being vocal or saying more about it, because it just seems like you're the most impacted, right? Like, sure, there's been women who have been killed, but by far we see that it's mostly the male, the black male. But I'm not here to get all political with you, right? So that's what Colin had to say. And then Chip Kelly spoke. And I'm not quite sure he should have said anything. But Chip said, It's his right as a citizen. Um, it's not my right to tell him not to do something. And that is basically about Colin standing for the national anthem. And I thought to myself, of course Chip will be that evasive with his response, because he's not in the real position to say anything, right? Like, dude, you had Riley Cooper on camera calling people the N word. Like, certainly no statement from Chip Kelly would have been better than this, like, partial statement. Like, you coached Riley Cooper. You played Riley Cooper after he came back from his, like, rehab. Seriously? Like, that is actually why Colin took his position for the Riley Coopers of the world, who, in one light, they're all, yeah, bro, team, all this stuff, reaping all these benefits of being associated with black men. But as soon as they're no longer in mixed company, you are telling us how you really feel. You get it? You kind of get it? And then the 49ers talked, or they spoke, I should say. And I'm not sure who's part of their PR team, but they certainly should contract out to me because they themselves should have withheld a statement too. Um, and so what they said, the 49ers, right? So this is no one person, this isn't Trent, this isn't Jets, this is the 49ers. The national anthem is and always will be a special part of the pregame ceremony. It is an opportunity to honor our country and reflect on the great liberties we are afforded as its citizens. So I'm going to stop right there because, again, I think people are missing why Colin took his position. He's talking about the men and women, the brown and black men and women of this country who actually don't have those liberties. They actually, like, don't, right? Like, so they do, right? They do in theory, but what we've seen over and over again is in its application, they actually don't. Like, these men and women don't actually have the liberty of not being seen as a criminal by law enforcement in their local area because of their skin color, because of the way they dress, because of the way they look. So that actually, right, because that's what Colin said. He said, there are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. We know that these people go on paid leave. So he's implying that obviously law enforcement, right, they are the ones that are killing the black and brown people um, and getting away with it. They're the ones who are making that judgment call, right? So at what point are the black and brown people receiving, are beneficiaries of these great liberties? Now, clearly, and they're saying, oh, you're here, I'm here, I'm talking to you, I'm obviously a black woman. But overall, chances are people might be frightened when they see me in person. Maybe law enforcement gives me a double take. Maybe I don't look as threatening, who knows? But the fact of the matter is that across this country, no matter where you go, what region you visited, there's been a black or brown person killed by law enforcement. Heck, we just saw the man in Florida. Like, literally, the man in Florida laid down, hands up, and still got shot. So again, these liberties in which the 49ers are speaking to, it's actually inaccurate. It's an inaccurate statement. And I think that they should not have said anything, or at least been more mindful of the words they've selected. And I get that they have teams who go over and they look at their words and they make sure that they're being politically correct. But you're talking about a black man who is saying that black bodies are being killed by the police and the police are getting away with it. And you turn around as an organization and say that it's an honor for our country uh, to reflect on the great liberties that's afforded to its citizens, when not all of its citizens are afforded those same liberties. So again, you reinforce what Colin is directly protesting. Anyway, so right, so we have what Colin said, we have what Chip said. Chip really doesn't have a leg to stand on because he had Riley Cooper going around calling people the N-word. We have the 49ers talking about the great liberties that its citizens are afforded, when the truth is that it's not all of its citizens are afforded those great liberties. And then you have the NFL. And the NFL by far provided the best statement. Perhaps the 49ers should have released their statement after the NFL, because they could have used what they said as a template. I like how the NFL said, very simply, to the point, players are encouraged but not required to stand during the playing of the national anthem. Boom. That's it. That's it. That's all. Why? Because I think to some degree the NFL understands the social, the political aspect and stance that Colin was taking. So guess what? There's nothing to penalize here. It's not a big deal. We don't need to keep talking about it. Let the man live. He chose, for his reasons, personal, professional, social, political, whatever, to not stand and acknowledge the flag. The playing of Star Spangled Banner, which, when it was penned in 1814, listen, black people and women were still property. So the fact that we have been so conditioned and institutionalized to stand up to recite a poem played to the music written by someone in 1814. Let's 1814 tells you all you need to know about the Star Spangled Banner, right? Conditioned to acknowledge something that which had nothing to do with you when it was created. Now, me personally, and I hope Colin is doing this, in his mind, I know in my mind, whenever I'm somewhere and the national anthem is being played, I'm singing Lift Every Voice. Your darn tootin', Lift Every Voice is seen, written by, I'm about to kill myself now, because I done forgot and I'm about to cut this off now.